I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for Monday, June 4th. Let the record reflect it. It is 6:43. If we all, no, why don't we do the roll call first?
Trustee Muhammad?
Here.
Trustee Stubbs? Here. Trustee House?
Here.
Trustee Denton?
Present.
Trustee Pearson?
Present.
Trustee Henyon?
Present.
All members of the board are here. We have a quorum. If we can all stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you will remain standing, I'd like for Trustee Denton to lead us in prayer tonight. Ed.
Oh, Jesus. Every head bow, every eye closed. Thank you, dear Father, for letting us gather this evening at this place to do the will of the village, to be in one accord, to have a meeting that is successful. And thank you for this day, yet another day in your glorious space. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Let the record reflect we have our department heads here. Got a call from our engineer. He will not be here tonight. Our village attorney is approximately 7 to 10 minutes away. But we're going to go ahead and start the meeting. Okay, next thing on the agenda is village clerk report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. At this time, I would ask for a motion for approval of the minutes of the March 5th, 2018 regular board meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes of March 5th, 2018.
Second.
Excuse me, it's been motioned and seconded to approve the minutes of the March 5th, 2018 board meeting. Any discussion on that? No discussion.
Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henyon?
Aye.
Motion passed, 6 ayes.
And I have no communications this evening.
Okay. Any others? Communication? Okay, next thing on the agenda is engineer's report. I'm not sure if everybody got a copy of his report. I think he emailed a copy. Okay. We're not going to discuss that. We'll go right into the committee reports. Human Services, Trustee Muhammad.
Yeah, I have a couple. Barbara Batten, the Payment Center. These are the monthly summaries for the Payment Center for the month of May 2018. The total water collections was $355,557.19. The other collections were $202,143.16, with a grand total of collections of $563,536.69. The dollar amount of water bills that are 120 days or more past due is $1,940,877.32, and that is an increase of last month of $81,406.37. And that is it for my water. If I could, Mayor, move on to my youth report. It's part of that same committee. The Winston Foundation, in association with Acid Genes for Men, Inc. And clerk, did you receive this copy? I emailed it.
If you emailed it late this afternoon, no, I have not yet.
Okay. Again, the Winston Foundation has been in existence for the last 10 years. The founder, Audrey Bird, goal is to teach young people about the value in having great skills when it comes to marketing themselves for the job force or entrepreneurial endeavors that can be pursued. The foundation's goal is to teach young people how to deal with the public in a business environment. There will be an upcoming event in July of this year. A date and date will be announced. We will be holding a 2-hour session with the young people from the ages of 14 to 18. The primary focus is on young men, but young girls are more than welcome to attend. The affordable fee of $10 will be charged to attend this event, and there will be refreshments and invaluable information on how to be your own boss. We have an example of an 8-year-old who will be in attendance who is now manufacturing his t-shirt, and they will be sold for $5. And the name of his line is called Acid Jeans for Kids. For more information, you can reach Mrs. Audrey Bird at 312-504-6545. She can also be reached on Instagram at Audrey Bird 64. Let me spell it out for you. Audrey is AUDREYBYRD 64, all one word. Again, for further information, you may call Miss Audrey Bird at 312-504-6545. Thank you.
Excuse me. Next thing on the agenda is planning. Trustee Henry.
Thank you. Good evening, residents. Thank you guys for coming out. Today we have Village of Dolton housing activity count from May 1st through May 31st. We had the following: 43 property transfer tax, 66 transfer tax, 17 sale inspections, 51 as is, 10 quick claims, 13 judicial deeds, 5 trust deeds, 2 tax deeds, 109 rental licenses, 219 rental inspections, 12 vacant property permit, 8 tenant water deposits, 27 escrow deposits, 18 escrow release inspections, 12 escrow refunds, 76 housing tickets. Total process was 670. The total revenue collected was $63,299.25. Thank you. End of my report, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Departmental Operations Trustee Stubbs.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out. Public Works Productivity Report for May 2018. This report was prepared by Superintendent Matt Stacy. Public Works has cut and cleaned 92 vacant property lots, walkways, and islands. Public Works has checked and repaired 20 street lights. Public Works has cut down 8 dead trees and trimmed 3 trees. Public Works has installed, checked, repaired 13 street lights, street signs. Public Works has repaired 25 B boxes and cleaned and repaired 22 sewers. Public Works has been out repairing potholes throughout map areas. SWAP was out on May 21st collecting trash along the village streets. Public Works has successfully shut off water for 27 delinquent properties and 2 emergency water turn-off requests. Public Works mechanics have serviced 3 police department vehicles, 4 firemen department vehicles, 3 housing department vehicles, and 11 public work vehicles, along with miscellaneous jobs that have come into the shop. With the miscellaneous jobs, Mr. Stacy, did you get an opportunity to do the sidewalk for the lady at 15512 Dorchester, the lady that's handicapped?
He's got it on his list. He will be doing it sometime this week.
Thank you. I have a trustee Muhammad that would also like to chime in on the report. He's also part of our committee.
Thank you, trustee. Can I be recognized, Mayor?
Go ahead, Trustee.
Okay, Mr. Stacy, we often as trustees get complaints from residents, and as you well know, I will send you pictures and also the person's names and addresses, and I'll go over the ones that I went with you privately that I told you I would be making public based on your last response. On Saturday, May 5th, I sent you a photo of some damage at 14900 Clark, which is Mr. Vanderbilt, who has a complaint, and I have that picture also, and you said you would check it out. 14708 Clark, and that's Mr. Anthony Hawkins, that complaint, and you have the damage that was done of a water main break and the repairs that hadn't been done. Continuing to 15426 and 15422 University, this is another repair that I mentioned to you at some meetings back. The last name on the person living there is Sally, and that resident is at 15422. I'll continue. We have a Miss Pruitt at 15322 Greenwood, and I sent you that information. And I'm going to read publicly what I sent and what your response was. Afternoon.
Trustee,
this is part of our report, Mayor.
Not to interrupt you, but I'm not going to allow you to sit here and do a public.
Well, we have to do it public. There's no bashing, Mayor. First of all,
Mr. Stacy. So if you've got some
that were not taken care of that has been promised to the residents,
they're not going to get taken care of tonight. Would you recite them again?
I'm not going to say it's getting taken care of. We got to go on the record because his response, which you don't want to hear. By the way, I'll just cut to the chase and make it very quick. After I followed up with him to see what the status of it was to see the mayor. So maybe you can tell us what the status of those repairs are.
Well, I'm going to just tell you. You have been trying to discredit Mr. Stacy for the last 2 years. And you try to move him out of his position. And tonight you want to try to publicly embarrass him and bash him. And it's not going to get done tonight, regardless of what you want to say tonight. So if it has not been done, it'll be reviewed. And if the situation warrants to be corrected, it will be corrected. But you trying to public bash him tonight, it's not going to happen.
Well, it's not to bash him, it's to actually follow with you, Mayor, because his reference was to check with you.
Well, then why didn't you come check with me?
Everything is being addressed, and your lights on Atlantic, which was taken care of, Mr. Stacy, thank you for that, are all on, and they did admit to that. But any other issues you can send to the mayor's office. And Mayor, I send you correspondence through email. These particular ones were not sent to you, but I did inform your supervisor that this would be taken publicly, and apparently you know about them because he referred them to your office. I just want to let the residents know when the repairs will be done. It has nothing to do with bashing anyone. We just like to know when the repairs are going to be done, the ones that I've documented and also forwarded to our chairman of that committee.
Well, he directed you to confer with me, and you haven't did that. So how am I going to tell you when you're going to...
I'm glad we're finding humor in it because these are senior citizens that have to go over these giant holes on a daily basis. So if this is your answer, they're viewing tonight. I told them to watch it, so they're watching, and that's your response, and that's fine. You're on the record, but no response.
Yeah. How do I respond when you don't do as directed by the superintendent? He asked you to confer with me. You didn't do that.
I'm done with it, Mayor.
Thank you.
May I continue?
Go ahead, Trustee Stubbs.
Please put your garbage out the night before your garbage pickup day, along with any debris you may have. Homewood is picking up yard waste and tree branches. Use brown bags, not plastic. Cut your branches into 4-foot sections and tie and bundle them together. That's the end of my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Police and Fire, Trustee Pearson.
Good evening, residents. The fire department's with computers was down, so I don't have that report today. I will, however, read that report at the COW meeting in 2 weeks from Chief Collins. I have his report. Traffic was 264. Parking violations, 403. Criminal arrest was 49, warrants was 6, aggravated assault and batteries 10, forcible rapes 3, murder 0, robbery 8, crimes against property, we got burglary 18, motor vehicle thefts 18, theft 71, and arson 1. And I'm going to ask the chief to mention about a report that's coming on tonight at 9 o'clock. Chief, if you don't mind.
Today we've been fielding quite a few questions about a WGN investigative report that will be on tonight. I'm sure some of you have already seen the trailer for that segment. The crux of it is recently in April we had one of our officers was arrested for a domestic incident that he had. I'm not going to mention him by name, but it will be in the report. And we have since released him from his employment here. One of the reporters, Mr. Ben Bradley, has decided to do an investigative report for past transgressions that this officer has had, and that why he had been allowed to remain on the department prior to this administration, of course. So that will be the report tonight. After the meeting, if any of you have any questions, just see me about it. It's supposed to air at 9 p.m. tonight on Channel 9.
Thank you, Chief. The last thing I want to mention is Project Connect is the last Thursday of every month. Hopefully you guys can come out this month. I don't have the location right now, but it will be, they email it out, they broadcast it, they put it up on the web page, and it would be nice if everybody could come out to Project Connect. That is something the Chief put together to give you guys a voice and let you guys come out and praise or I always like to say, commend the police department for the job that they do, or if you have complaints, you can also do that. But you got to first come out and spend some time at Project Connect. It's a wonderful thing that he put together, and it gives you an opportunity. And Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you. Next, Finance Trustee Muhammad.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I don't have a report from Ms. Redmond, so I'm going to ad-lib this, and I hope that you did mention the next police committee community outreach is at the Melanie Fitness out in the parking lot. Is that correct, Chief?
Yes, it is. The last Thursday of June.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's two people. This is my finance report, and I wanted to quote two people. One will be Martin Luther King, and the other one will be John F. Kennedy. And let me just read this quote from Martin Luther King, because it relates to our finances. You may wonder how. And I've read it before, but this is for the record. Courage is an inner resolution to go forward despite obstacles. Cowardice is submissive surrender to circumstances. Courage breeds creativity. Cowardice represses fear and is mastered by it. Cowardice asks the question, is it safe? Expediency asks the question, is it politic? Vanity asks the question, is it popular? But conscience asks the question, is it right? And there comes a time when we must take a position that is neither safe nor politic nor popular, but one must take it because it is right. You say, now what does that have to do with finance? We have a very important meeting taking place at the end of this meeting in closed session concerning our water payment to the city of Chicago. And this board has to make some strong, serious, hard decisions concerning reducing expenditures, increasing revenues, and also adjusting our taxes. In order to do that, we got to remove the politics, we got to remove what's popular, but there's some serious cuts that's going to take place in this village. It has to be done. If you're pulling in $17 or $18 million a year, you can't spend $20, $21, $22, $23 million. This village has been in a deficit, at least for the last 5 years that I know of, approximately $2 million a year. You've heard me say it from the same microphone. You can't spend more than what you're taking in. And when I say there'll be cuts across the board. So we don't need a person coming giving a political speech and doing the theater, because we got to remove the politics, as Martin Luther King said. And I want to quote another person from a book called Profiles in Courage. And me and the attorney were talking about this, because this is a very popular book, which really relates to me. And that's this. You can't always do that which is popular. You can't always do, as an elected official, to do that which will get you elected the following year or the year after that. You got to do that which is right. I live here in Dolton, have been living here since December of 1998. I pay to get my garbage picked up just like you. I have a mortgage on my home just like you. My youngest son went to Thornridge High School. So I have a vested interest in this community. Profiles in Courage talks about, I believe, 8 politicians who weren't voted back into office because they did the right thing. Back in the days of slavery, there were those who actually fought against the Civil War. They didn't win re-election, but they had to do the right thing. We have to do the right thing when it comes to getting revenue for this village. You cannot collect $17 million and spend $20 million. It doesn't work. You can't continue to bond yourself out of trouble. It's just like you and I going down the street to get a payday loan. You can't keep doing it every year. You can't have a Band-Aid effect to get this village through its financial crisis. So my suggestion, and I will be meeting with the finance director tomorrow, and we will be putting the budget together, and we will have a finance meeting, and I invite all of you here to attend because it affects everyone here. It affects the employees here, and it affects this village. Now, as far as corporate bills are concerned, we'll get to that, but I just wanted to put that on everybody's mind. When you get a chance, check the book out, Profiles in Courage. They said that Kennedy wrote it, but I don't really think so. I think it was Sorensen. I don't know if you may know, attorney. I think that's one of the books you probably had to read in college. But I think it was Sorensen. And it's a wonderful book, and I adhere to it because we got to remove the politics from this. We got to remove the personal from this. There are people that's going to be affected on this budget that are friends of mine, and it affects them, but it affects me also. So I thank you for this time and being patient to read this quote from Martin Luther King and to also quote from the book, Profiles in Courage, and thank you, Mayor. I'm sorry,
Trustee.
I'm sorry, I have one more thing here to add to this as far as the finance is concerned. And can you bear with me, Mayor, for this, please?
Ask your constituents out there. I can bear with it.
Well, they are. All 23,000 of them are. Myself, our attorney, and Trustee Stubbs attended court last week concerning the Invest in Dolton. We were stood up in court and given accolades for this program that we're doing. The judge said himself that this is a wonderful program, and how many people are doing it? We couldn't answer that because we don't have the information to get out to you. So I would like to go into the record on the Invest in Dolton program. Is a program to provide affordable home ownership in the village of Dolton by providing village-owned vacant homes to financially qualified persons by means of a raffle for a cost of acquisition of $5,000 to a village resident or any person who seeks to live and own a home in Dolton to rehabilitate said home to comply with all village codes. All raffle candidates to qualify must show proof of access to funds in a minimum amount of $35,000. Rehabilitate the property by way of a line of credit or cash or bank approval loan. Once qualified, a list shall be prepared and all will be allowed to participate in the raffle program of any property offered by the village. Raffle winners will receive an as-is conditional purchase offer. Property shall not be conveyed to the raffle winner until the rehabilitation is completed and the work approved by the village. All rehabilitation work shall be performed by a licensed contractor registered with the Village of Dolton. Candidates will be required to execute a one-year rehabilitation agreement, including a deed restriction that the property must remain owner-occupied for at least 5 years after completion of the rehabilitation. Failure to comply with the terms of the rehabilitation agreement shall result in the forfeiture of the property. The program requirements are as follows. Within 24 hours of raffle, award, execute condition purchase contract. You must be present at the raffle. Payment of $5,000 acquisition costs and execution of conditional purchase contract. Must include proof of access to funds in a minimum amount of $35,000 for home rehabilitation costs to qualify for the program. Must start rehab within 90 days of execution of conditional purchasing contract, complete rehabilitation in 1 year. rehab must be performed by a licensed contractor registered with the Village of Dolton, must reside in the home at least 5 years, as mentioned before, and the village makes no representations as to the condition of the property. Now, our attorney that represents these properties, again, was at the Markham Courthouse where we were getting clearance on these, and Trustee Stubbs was also there, and she can bear witness how excited the judge was in signing these properties over, and maybe she can go into what she witnessed herself, what the judge, in standing us up, gave accolades to this village and these trustees. Trustee Stubbs.
Wait, hold on.
It's part of my report, Mayor.
Yeah. You had ended your report, and then you asked, can you add something else? And you've added it. Now you want to get a floor to Trustee Stubbs.
Can you be recognized?
Go ahead, Trustee.
Real quick.
Thank you.
I just want to say the judge was excited just like we were when we were awarded the properties. Also, I want to state the $5,000 that you put down, the village will receive that monies back. That was the $5,000 that the village put up. So we would definitely receive those monies back. And like I stated before, the judge was very excited. He recognized the village of Dolton was doing a great thing. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. All right. Well, since we're getting everything on the record, I think it's a terrible program. When we have an attorney that is representing the interests of the village taking these properties, and he's also representing the interests of the company that we're giving these properties to, and we don't get anything for it. We have been receiving complaints from homeowners that have had their property taken or are in the mix right now of getting their property taken. And we have a couple of people here tonight that are going to provide to you some information in regards to what they've been going through with the attorney that some of these board members pick to take these properties and give it to a private corporation, and the village do not get one dime. Not only that, we have a village attorney on record already. They choose to use another attorney to, in fact, charge us to file the demolition or the abandonment petition against these properties. So we're actually paying somebody to take our abandoned properties, to give it to somebody for free, and they're turning around and getting all the money for those properties. Now, in other villages, when they do what's called no cash bids, or they go after the abandoned houses, the village reaps some benefits from that in revenue. That's not the case here. The case when it was made that, oh, they're going to go back on the tax rolls. Yeah, they're going to go back on tax rolls 2 years from now. What about, why should we, and I think they said we had 400 abandoned houses, I'm not sure. Why should we be giving our houses to a separate corporation? They, in turn, sell the houses and reap all the revenue. Why? We paid $30,000 for the attorney to file liens of abandonment on 6 houses. On 6 houses. And he sat here and he said, well, it cost me $2,500 to file on these houses. Not true. It's approximately $500. Myself and Clerk Dugan went to court on 2 matters. What date was it? A week or so ago? May 25th, in which this attorney that they have that are filing these abandonment petitions wanted to continue. Now, the owners of these properties were there. Wanted to continue to try to take their properties. And they had received phone calls from representatives of BP Capital and said, hey, I'm going to get back with you. And in some cases said, hey, you want to buy your house back? Give me $40,000. This is totally wrong. Now, see, if the judge gave him accolades, he don't know the other side of the story. And I'm quite sure he wouldn't tell him. It's a terrible program. It's a terrible program. You talk about this financial condition that we're in, and here's a prime opportunity for us to reap some revenue to assist us with our financial issues. But yet and still, we're going to give it to somebody else. You talk about political. Yeah, it's political.
Mayor, may I be recognized?
No. No. I'm talking. And you will hear from someone that has been in this situation, and they told her they were going to contact her. They never contact her, and they let the time run out so they can take her house. She's sitting right there. And we've gotten the complaints. We've got a complaint. How many complaints have we had? At least 5 to 6 complaints. Now, you've taken houses already, nobody showed up. But the people that show up and say, hey, I want my house, why do you want to continue to try to go and take it? It smells like a rat.
Mayor, may I be recognized?
No. Next thing on the agenda is corporate bills. I'm sorry, special events trustee Henry.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay, I don't know how to come behind that. Council walk, you guys. I announce at every board meeting. I would like the community to come out. It will be more than likely in August. We're shooting for July, but it more than likely will be in August. I want support groups to come out. I'm trying to make it bigger and more organized, of course, so we can turn it to like an outdoor event. Come out, all those walkers and runners that walks at Dolton Park, please show up and show out for Dolton. The proceeds go back into the community, so if anyone is struggling with cancer or need help, need a wig, need a day out, anything, we have funds available. They are at Abundant Living Church, which is right here in Dolton. So if you need the help, please reach out. That is Reverend Fletchman. And my cell number, which I used to always give, I know you know about heart now, 708-297-6859. Again, that number is 708-297-6859. And last but not least, I am hiring. I own Good Burger Restaurant. I announced this as well. I'm hiring youth for the summer. I have a food truck. We do a lot of outdoor fests. That's a lot of fun. Please reach out. You can stop at South Suburban College to apply if you have any little ones or anybody home for the summer that's just looking for work. I do pay $10 an hour starting rate, and you can make up to $15 an hour depending on experience. Please, please, please stop in South Suburban College. Fill out the app. We're hiring now. Thank you, Mayor. End of my report.
Did you pay for that commercial?
Mayor, can I speak? I forgot to mention committee report.
Okay, I thought you didn't have a committee report.
No, that ain't what I said. I didn't have a fire report. But
okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, it's not a committee report. We're having a police and fire committee meeting on Friday at 5 o'clock. I'd like you guys to come out. We're going to talk about hiring of police officers and a few other items on the agenda. Clerk Dugan, I'll get that to you tomorrow morning. But I invite you all out to that meeting.
What time is it, trustee?
5 o'clock.
On Friday?
Yes.
Okay. The next thing on the agenda, corporate bills.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to get a motion to retract that. I make a motion to pay the corporate payments of $653,935.89 with a gross payroll of $353,302.37 with Melanie Fitness at $13,003.78 with a gross payroll of $2,425.69. Total corporate payments $1,022,667.73. Can I get a second?
Second.
The motion is second to pay the corporate bills as stated. Any discussion? No discussion. Roll call.
Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henry?
Aye.
Motion carries 6 ayes. Old business. Item A, approval of tax increment financing, otherwise known as a TIF, consulting. Trustee Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. Basically, today I'm asking for approval from the board to start a TIF district for 300 West Sibley. Can I make a motion, Mayor? Or?
Sure.
I would like to make a motion to approve TIF district for 300 West Sibley, not to exceed Attorney Murphy. What was the max? Was it 40?
Well, was this to approve the TIF district or approve a consultant for the TIF district?
The consultant.
Okay.
I was directed by the board that we wanted 3 different proposals, which we do have, and I would like the board to weigh in on which company they would like to choose. It doesn't matter to me, any company, as long as we just start the process.
Okay. Attorney Murphy.
We got to get a second. She made a motion.
Second.
Okay, so it's been a motion and seconded to approve the hiring, if I'm right, of a consultant for the establishment of a TIF district in the 300 West Sibley Boulevard property.
I think the board's aware that part of the settlement agreement that we negotiated is that the village is in the process of acquiring this property under the Cook County no cash bid, and part of the agreement is that we are going to have to establish a tax increment financing district. That's a process that takes about 4 to 6 months from start to finish to complete. We originally had the firm of Kane McKenna out here, and they've done some preliminary work after the board indicated they wanted other proposals. I've gotten proposals from 2 other firms. One is named Teska and Associates, and the other one is named Ehlers, E-H-L-E-R-S. So I think what Trustee Henry is looking for is a time to move this forward, and if so, we've got to make a choice as to the consultant.
John, for the residents that don't know, can you explain to what a TIF district is?
TIF stands for Tax Increment Financing, and it allows the village to identify property that meets certain criteria for either being blighted or being obsolete, to go through a process that involves a study, a consultant's report, public hearings, meetings with the governmental bodies in the school district, and ultimately it allows, if adopted by the board, it allows the village to attract new development, and when new property tax revenues come in for the new development, those revenues, which is what's called the increment, is captured and can be used by the village for upgrades of that property itself, for environmental work, for rehabilitation, for all sorts of reimbursable expenses. So the essence of TIF is that it allows the village to use the new property taxes from a project to help pay the costs of the project itself. And it's a common tool in the south suburbs. It's a significant tool. And what we're trying to do with this particular property is obtain this property on a tax-exempt basis, and then if we do establish the TIF district, there'll be significant long-term revenues available to assist us in attracting an appropriate developer. We've talked about this at several meetings, that under the agreement, once we acquire the property, we will convey it back to the owner if and only if that owner provides the village with a suitable tenant, which is identified in the agreement as a sales tax producer, grocery store, home improvement store, and the like. I think because we don't really have a name of a particular consultant that's being recommended, I think, Trustee Henyard, your goal is to just try to get this ball moving, right?
Correct.
So if the board at your next finance committee meeting or whatever committee you wants to look at the proposals, make a recommendation, and bring it back to the board at the next meeting.
Yeah, I was asking for them to choose from one of the 3 consultants that turned their paperwork in.
I'd like to make a motion to table this and send it to the finance committee.
Second.
Why would it go to finance?
Motion has been made and seconded.
Okay. Take the roll call on the table motion.
Motion to send to the TIF item to the Finance Committee.
The motion was first to table it, Clerk.
Well, then there are two motions?
The motion is to table approval of the tax incremental consultant.
To the Finance Committee, which is what she said. So what's the issue?
Well, yeah, I thought you all were going to take a vote because you had a motion and a second by House and Henyard. So I thought you may want to do that vote first,
No,
like we
table
normally
trumps.
do, but we can table it.
This takes precedence.
So this is
Table
a table and
trumps.
then the Senate to Finance.
Trustee,
Yes.
Trustee, let the clerk do her job, please. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
On the motion, sorry, to send the TIF item to Finance Committee, Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
No.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henyard.
No.
4-2. Motion carries.
Okay, this has been tabled. Here again, a delay of
No
something.
discussion on the table, please.
Trustee, you forget that I'm the mayor and I'm running the meeting.
Attorney Murphy,
Okay?
Attorney
You
Murphy,
forget.
would you please let the chair know there
forget.
is no discussion on
There's no discussion.
We're not discussing
Tabling.
we're
You
not
are,
discussing the table. Trustee,
Attorney Murphy.
Trustee Muhammad, you're forgetting I'm running the meeting, I'm the mayor, and if I want to speak, I'm going to speak. Now, I'm not discussing the table. Now, here again is a delay process. Now,
Attorney
the attorney
Tabled it.
explained to
The matter
you.
is, the matter is with the Finance Committee, but I think everybody, this meeting works a lot better if there's a little bit of flexibility given to each of the officials to make a comment. The matter's there. That's how we've operated. The mayor's just going to make a couple remarks.
That's not how we've
Attorney
operated.
Murphy,
No,
I
that's
just
not
asked,
correct.
But-
I just asked, could I speak? And he told me no, and he shut me down.
And
So you talk
I
about
did.
flexibility.
I did.
Where was the flexibility when I asked, could I speak? And he told me no.
You
Now,
asked.
what's good for the gander is good for the goose.
You asked, and I said no.
Okay, so we
Okay.
asking you to
Robert's
follow
rules.
Robert Rules of Orders.
And I'm following
Thank
them.
you. No,
And
you're
I'm
not.
No
following.
discussion on the table, Mayor.
I'm not discussing about the table.
Yeah, but the subject matter is not supposed to be discussed. And you're discussing the subject matter, Mayor.
Okay, I'll wait till mayor's report and discuss it. Okay. Next thing on the agenda is the hiring of police officers, full-time, two full-time and 2 part-time. Trustee Henry.
Thank you. As you all know, we need police officers desperately. We are down. We need officers like yesterday. I put this on the agenda to get 2 full-time and 2 part-time officers. Currently, 2 of our officers no longer are with us. So basically what I'm asking the board to do is replace the existing amount that each officer was getting paid with new officers. The part-time officers, you do not have to pay for benefits. They are at $15 an hour. Is that correct, Chief? Am I right on that?
You are correct.
Okay. And if you don't mind, can you just give us an overview of the officers you need and why?
I'd like to make a motion to table this to
Second.
the police.
Can
Committee.
he explain
Police and Fire
why
Committee.
he need the officers? We need officers, you guys, residents. I don't know if you guys know that. We
There's
need
a
it
motion and a
bad.
second on the floor.
Bad.
Motion and second to table.
Everybody want to table it, and that's fine. You're going to probably win your table, but we definitely need police presence. When I walk out my house every day, I have a resident coming up to me, asking me for
Mayor,
help.
there's a motion and a second
They are
on the
getting
floor.
robbed. I'm
Trustee
going to
Henry.
tell y'all the truth. I'm going to tell y'all the
Henry.
facts.
Trustee Henry.
There's
Hey,
a
We need
motion
help.
and a second
We need
on the
help.
floor.
Trustee Henry.
Yes.
There's no discussion on the table, but I'm gonna yield to you, and you can explain your point of view at the mayor's report.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Next thing on the agenda. Oh yeah, vote to table. Go ahead. Roll call.
On the motion to send item old business B to Police and Fire Committee, Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
No.
Trustee Denton. Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henyard.
No.
Okay, motion carries the table. Next thing on the agenda is approval for the AFSCME contract for Public Works. Trustee House.
We have been doing negotiations with AFSCME for some months, and we've come up to a tentative agreement, and I'm just asking for approval of the board so that we can move forward with the contract.
I make a motion to approve the AFSCME contract of Public Works.
Second.
The motion and seconded to approve the AFSCME contract for Public Works. Any discussion? No discussion. Roll call.
Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henyard?
Aye.
Motion carries, 6 ayes. New business, ordinance number 18-007, hearing procedure to contest water bills. Trustee Stubbs.
Yes, I would like to introduce this ordinance number 18-007. That's an ordinance establishing a hearing procedure to contest water bills. Whereas the mayor and the board of trustees of the Village of Dolton believe and hereby declare that it is in the best interest of the Village of Dolton and the interest and its residents to establish a hearing procedure for its residents to contest the amount of their water bills. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the mayor and the board of trustees of the Village of Dolton, Cook County, Illinois, in the exercise of its home rule authority as follows. Section 1, there is hereby establishing a hearing procedure for its residents to contest the amount of their water bill. Hearing procedures to contest the amount of a water bill. A challenge of the amount of a water bill shall be filed in writing with the clerk within 60 days of the first issuance of the bill. Issuance of the bill. The village clerk shall, upon receipt of the said written challenge, notify the chair departmental of operations committee of the village board to schedule a hearing on the challenge. The departmental of operation committee shall hold the hearing within 30 days of the filing of the challenge and render a final decision thereon. The clerk shall cause written notice of the hearing to be sent by first-class U.S. mail to the customer at least 7 days prior to the hearing and shall provide written notice of the hearing to the water department at least 7 days prior to the hearing. The customer may present at the hearing and may have legal counsel, may cross-examine witnesses, may offer testimonies, witness documents and other evidence, may present defense to the amount of the water bill. All testimony shall be taken under oath. Failure of the water department to support the amount of the water bill will result in a finding in favor of the resident in an amount determined by the committee to have been supported by evidence. The committee decision as to the amount of the water bill shall be forwarded to the finance director, who shall cause a corrected water bill to be issued within 10 days of the decision of the committee. Any policy, resolutions, ordinance of the Village of Dolton which conflict with the provisions of this ordinance shall be and is hereby repealed of the extent of such conflict. Effective date, this ordinance shall be full force and effect upon its passage, approved, and publication as by law. If I can have, I would like to make a motion to approve this ordinance.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve this hearing procedure to contest water bill. Okay, it's been motioned and seconded to approve this hearing procedure to contest water bills. Any discussion?
Yes, I would like if Attorney Kathleen Elliott can come up to the podium and just explain to the residents about this ordinance, please.
That's fine. Although I don't see why we need an ordinance for it, but.
Okay. Just briefly, I was asked to do an ordinance that set up a specific written procedure that residents could have to appeal their water bills. This is based on providing minimum due process to these residents. It allows them to come in and present any evidence they have to the committee, and has specific timeframes that everybody has to follow so that the matter gets resolved in a relatively timely manner, and provides that the committee's decision is final so that the resident knows that there's some specific end result. That's basically the provisions. We had it go to a committee because it's 3 members. It's relatively minimal amount of time to take care of it. The committee can handle it in an expeditious manner instead of having something before the whole village board. And it is similar to other ordinances for parking tickets and other types of appeals, and we just wanted to give some due process to the residents per the trustee's request.
Let me ask you a question. Go ahead, trustee, you can ask first.
Okay. Is there an ordinance like this in any other community? Do anybody else do this?
There are procedures for appeals of water bills. It varies as to who the appeals go to.
In what communities?
I know there's one in the city of Rockford because I wrote it.
Yeah.
But no surrounding communities like South Holland, Lansing?
I haven't really
Riverdale.
looked at the surrounding communities, but generally, from a best practices standpoint, having an appeal procedure for a bill is a good idea.
Right. Mary Kay, do we have an appeal ordinance currently?
The process for water bills is that the residents contact the payment center and the water department manager if there is an apparent problem with their bill.
Right.
If that does not resolve the matter, the bill is then brought to the attention of our Director of Administrative Services, Ms. Johnson, who pulls the record and does essentially what is set forth in the ordinance for the trustees to do, which is look at the record, determine if there is an error, and if so, adjust the bill to the appropriate amount. If not, the resident is informed that there is no error.
So if we already have something like this in place, why do we need a law to do the same process?
I drafted it at the request of the trustees. I assume that they felt that they weren't getting proper input back from the administrative staff.
And then who sits on this committee?
Well, it's your committee that you've appointed.
So it's the trustees. It's the
Correct.
same board currently.
Correct.
I don't see why we need another law. We sit up here now.
No, it goes to the operations committee.
We all have committees. So if that's
Right.
the case, you could have just put it under somebody's the water committee.
It's under Departmental Operations Committee.
That is the water committee.
Pursuant to the ordinance.
What I'm saying is that we didn't need another ordinance. When you have an issue, you just put it on committee. You put it on the paper, say we want to talk about whatever address it is.
Well, this is to establish consistency for the procedure.
Well, one of the things that if you put this ordinance in place and everybody, we're getting a lot of complaints about the water now because one of the reasons is because there has been an increase in the water. So if you put this ordinance in place and you establish a committee and you get 150 residents that want to contest their water bill, how do they, and you talked about it being handled quickly, how do you handle that quickly?
Yeah.
Well, the water department would submit whatever documentation they have, and the committee would just go through it. It would be similar to parking tickets. You may have a number of tickets on an agenda, and you just go through that hearing agenda.
The appeal process for the parking tickets is a violation, and you get due process to come to court to contest that violation. Now I can hear you. Hang on a minute. So what happens now when they come in and complain, Janice and or managers over in the water department run the history, you try to find a solution for it, and if there's an error or in regards to the reading, or they think it's a damaged water meter or a water meter that's not operating efficiently, the public works go out, they test the meter or replace the meter, and the matter gets resolved. But I think putting the ordinance in place would cause a lot of undue more pressure in other activity that the water department has to do when they're all so busy right now.
Right, I understand, and that's your policy decision to make. I wouldn't compare this necessarily. I just use parking tickets as an example that people would be familiar with, but it's not really comparable to violations. It's more comparable to protests you make on your taxes and other type of things where you're entitled to a hearing.
So now, say for example, the committee finds, say, you know, we're going to give this resident a break on the bill, or we're going to find in their favor, and they do away with that fee. The responsibility for the cost of that water comes back onto the village, and the village has to pay that water usage. One of the issues that had happened in the prior administration, and even now, is that we have received notice from the city of Chicago that every year for 5 years consecutively, when I was a trustee several years ago, that the water rates were going to go up. Those water rates were never passed off to our residents. Consequently, we wind up in a position that we're in right now, and every time there's a water main break here, no one pays for that but the village. The village has to pay for that water that is lost during water main breaks. Thank God we didn't have that many water main breaks this past winter, but 2 or 3 years ago we had 41 water main breaks in 1 year. So all that water that escaped, the village had to pay for. So that's why it's important that once we have increases from the city of Chicago, that we appropriately pass those increases off, and also we'll be able to collect enough money to pay for when we have those emergency situations when we have to call Public Works out, and by contract we have to pay them overtime, which is some time, depending on the breaks that we have, could be substantial amount of money that we pay out in overtime based upon the contract for Public Workers to come out and handle an emergency situation. So I would be cautious in regards to that process and putting the ordinance in place to because ultimately the village is going to absorb the costs, and then the taxpayers.
Are there any more questions specifically on the ordinance?
Yes, we have 2 here.
May I?
Go ahead, Trustee.
In the ordinance, it said that the resident must bring proof that it was an error in the water bill. The reason why I talked with the other trustees to put this ordinance in place, I'm out here every day, and the residents, if you didn't know, you are the village, and the residents have came to me. I've went and knocked on people's doors, rang their doorbells, because one gentleman had over a $50,000 water bill, and I just knew that could not be correct. So finally, someone contacted me. I left my card. He came, he called me, and he came up here, and Ms. Johnson was able to straighten that out. Then there's other individuals that have received water bills, and they still did not agree with the village that their water bills were correct. So what do these individuals do? It was stated on national TV that they have to pay it. So the residents should have a voice in this also, and they should not be shunned off at the board meetings and on national TV to have a voice and to bring their proof that they are not liable for the water. We have houses right now that are abandoned and that the water is on. We have also had claims filed against us that they claim that it was an error of us, the village of Dolton, that we were at fault for their property being water damage, and they filed a claim against the village. So therefore, I think this ordinance is very important. It helps the residents. I'm retired. I'm out here every day working in the community anyway for the people, with the exceptions of Fridays and Sundays. Everybody know that I don't work on those days. But any other day, feel free to call me. I chair that committee. Through the procedures, I welcome you to bring your proof, and with the director and Barbara over there, I'm sure they'll, and Ms. Johnson, I'm sure we can get this done in an expeditious manner.
Mayor, can I be recognized during discussion?
Go ahead, trustee.
Thank you. I'm hearing the questions, do we have something in place? Don't we have something now? Why are we doing this? This is to complement the service that's going over there now. They're overwhelmed. We've been on national television, as Trustee Stubbs mentioned. It's been an embarrassment when we have residents come up to that microphone and then they're being told, well, you're responsible for the bill. They have to, the residents have to have some type of hearing. This will complement that hearing that they normally do under Ms. Johnson and family's last name?
Young.
Mr. Young over at the Payment Center and Ms. Batten at the Payment Center. This is simply to complement what we have now. They need help. We're offering our help through through our committee, and that's the whole purpose of this ordinance. It's pretty cut and dry. Now the residents have a voice, and the final decision doesn't have to be made from that microphone when they come to a public address and they run out of here angry saying you'll be responsible for the bill. So our committee will be a part of this and help to complement the service of the Payment Center. As far as the water main breaks are concerned, Ms. Yvonne Redmond, the finance director, forwarded to all of the board members here how we're segregating the funds. So we do have a fund that's developed for sewer maintenance. So now that we're getting our house in order with the help of our attorney and actually the city of Chicago, we have to do our due diligence now and have monies dedicated for water main breaks, dedicated to, again, to complement the Payment Center. And that's all I had, Mayor, on that discussion.
Mayor, could I speak for a moment? I just have one thing to add.
Go ahead, trustee.
I just wanted to add that with this ordinance, we are not going to sit at a hearing to give money away. We're all taxpayers, just like everybody else, and if we were to start giving money away or to lower somebody's bill, we know that our tax dollars are going to have to pay that. What we're trying to do is we're trying to give the residents a voice, and not just give them a voice, but to try to get down to the bottom of the problem. Some problems are the residents, where there could be leaky faucets, they could have water running somewhere that they don't know it's running, but there are problems that could belong to the village, and so we just want to hear what they have to say and give them a voice, because as we knock on doors and talk to residents in the community, they do feel like they don't have a voice and that they would love to have a chance to go and talk to somebody where they're going to have a chance to speak and not just be told that they have to pay the bill. That's your bill, you got to pay it. And they just feel like they was cast aside. And that's it.
May I speak, Mayor?
Go ahead, trustee.
I just had a comment that something different has to be done than what is being done presently, because it's getting worse. And if this is a process to help alleviate some of our problem, why not give it a shot?
Mayor, I just got one thing.
Go ahead, trustee.
Okay. I don't think by us passing this law is going to help. And the reason being, it's the same process we have now. We're going to sit here at a committee and basically say, okay, well, I have to give this to Janice. It's the same process we're doing now. You're still going to have to contact that department head to make sure that it's accurate. It's nothing different, but you're just sitting in front of us, what you're doing now. If it's something bad, it normally comes to this board where it's the body of the whole and we decide. But I don't see how going in front of a committee is going to be any different from you going to the department head that's over the water department or Janice and she doing the research to say what bills are accurate. We're not going to be doing that in the committee. We don't have access to anything in the village as far as the database to say what bills are accurate. We're still going to hand it off to Janice or the water department head. So that's why I can't support this. I have to vote no because it's the same process. The only difference is you're sitting in front of 3 board members that's going to make a decision that we still do today. That's for the record.
Mayor, can I be acknowledged?
Go ahead, Trustee House.
I'm just going to second what Trustee Henyard saying, and my concern being that the follow-up process will take more time away from the staff to repeat work that's already been done.
There have been residents that wanted to contest their water bill. They came in and felt it was an error, and it was given to the proper people, and the proper research was done. I don't see how, setting up a committee, then you have to set up the hearing date, then everybody has to be available, and then they sit down and they present their case, and then they're going to have to go back to the water department, pull the history, and the water department is going to have to try to take a look and see what happens. And then if they figure there's an error out, then Public Works goes out and they go check the meter and or replace the meter. So I think putting this ordinance in place, and I'm not saying that there should not be, the residents shouldn't be heard if they think there's an issue with their water bill, but I think putting this ordinance in place will delay the process that's already in place.
Mayor, may I be recognized?
Go ahead.
This is so the residents could have a voice, because I know one lady, Emma, I'm not going to call her last name, she had a water bill, it was consistent, and then all of a sudden she had an $800 water bill. She said she wasn't paying it because she had paid all of her bills. They were the same amount. Public Works did go out. Her bill was pulled, but it have to be something to that for all of her bills to be consistent, the same amount for months, and then all of a sudden she get an $800 water bill, or for a resident to be told that you're going to pay the water bill. So this gives the residents an opportunity to have a voice, because you should have a voice in this village. Excuse me, I didn't interrupt you.
I didn't know you. I thought you were finished.
No, Mayor, I didn't. So that's why I'm in favor of this, because I'm in favor of the residents being able to have a voice about your water bill. And I know you go over to the water department, you talk to the director, because I talked to the director myself today, and Barbara, and this will enhance it, and it will not be prolonged, because there's necessary steps that you would take to get a hearing, and I'm available. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Well, in this ordinance, the steps are not identified. It doesn't say who the committee members would be. So you can...
Mayor, the committee members are already, you already know who they are.
I do?
Just tell them the committee. Yeah, departmental.
It's myself, I'm the chair. It's Trustee Muhammad and Trustee Pearson that sits on that committee.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Yeah, further discussion.
Go ahead, Trustee.
It just sounds funny to me, but I think if you're going to make a committee, you should at least involve the board. I know people are new up here, but you got to speak up. Trustee Denton, Trustee House, any one of them could have been on that committee as well if you're going to do something new. If you three just on there, just seem fishy to me. I think you should have kind of switched it up. I'm just saying, I think you should give somebody else, throw somebody else a bone. Why couldn't Trustee Denton be on it? I'm like, advocating for me because I'm not for it.
The committee's already formed. It's not like there's a new...
We make laws, you guys. So we make laws. We can make it however we want. So you can't tell me something's already formed. If you wanted Trustee Denton to sit on that board, you could have put her name on there. If you wanted Trustee House to sit on that board, his name could have went on there. It ain't nothing in stone. We make the laws. Okay. That's what we just did. And then for the record, you keep saying that residents have a voice. Residents have a voice. You guys speak always. So just by having this committee don't make it that you're going to have an extra voice. You guys contact myself, Trustee Brown, with ex-Trustee Brown, I'm sorry. He go all the time and go over there and help residents with their water bill, and there's no issue. It's the same process. So that's why I was saying that if we make a committee, it will be no different. If you contact one of us and we go over there and we research it, we're going to come back and tell you the same thing. It's nothing different than having a committee. That's all. That's just something extra.
Got it.
Okay, any further discussion? Trustee Murphy, can you?
Please, don't condemn me to that. If I'm a trustee, ladies and gentlemen, if I am now a trustee, I demand a recount.
You're right. Sorry.
Just two comments. We're all trying to strike a balance, and I think the board should make sure that the staff is 100% comfortable with this, because the burden's going to fall on them. The other thing, if you look at the document, it says that the challenge is to be filed within 60 days after the issuance of the bill. Well, the bill is due in 30 days. So then we get involved in delinquency notices, and then a challenge to the bill, and then another 30 days for the hearing. It sounds like if somebody gets a water bill they think is too heavy, rather than going through all this process, all they can do is pick up the phone and talk to the staff. My real comment is that it would be nice to have a public setting where the staff can weigh in on this, because they're the ones who are going to have to do the work.
And the village clerk.
And, well, you're part of one.
And the village clerk.
Thank you.
Take the vote.
Okay. Roll call.
On the motion to approve ordinance number 18-007, hearing procedure to contest water bills. Motion by trustee motion by trustee Stubbs, second by trustee Muhammad. Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
No.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Hendrick.
No.
Okay, motion passed 4-2. Next thing on the agenda is the mayor's report. Tax increment financing. I think that our attorney explained it very well in regards to why it's important that we have TIF districts. And I think, once again, the process has been delayed. And it seems it's always delayed. Something is always delayed. We have to table it, and we have to move it back, and winds up delayed. Hiring of police officers. I've been asking for police officers for the last 3 to 4 years.
Zeno's back on the street.
It's going to be a long, hot summer. And we need the police. Even if you have to bite the bullet on the cost. But it's important to keep our residents safe and keep our streets safe. And from time to time, we ask Cook County Sheriff's Police to come in and supplement our police force. And I'm not going to tell you on some occasions and some nights and some shift how many police officers we got on the street, because they will scare you. Now, if we can afford to pay over $500,000 a year in overtime to police officers, we can afford to hire them at a lower rate. And I'm saying to say the same thing about the fire department. If we can afford to pay $500,000, $600,000 in overtime for the fire department, then we can afford to have higher firefighters at a lower rate. We're paying the overtime anyway. Why not pay them to the people at a lower rate that's going to supplement the command, supplement the department? I think it's a shame when you vote against police officers, hiring police officers. And we've been fortunate, we've been lucky that the police officers that we have are doing a great job. But who knows what this summer will bring? And when you hire police officers, there's a certain amount of training period that you have to train them to make sure that they're street ready to get out there. So, you know, we got money to hire an extra attorney for the trustees, We got money to hire an extra attorney to file for abandonment on these properties, but we don't have enough money to hire police officers. Wrong. It's wrong. Okay, at any rate, I'll tell you about the good things that's happening. I'm sorry, Trustee Henry? What was that? Oh, Trustee Henry, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
You pretty much keyed on everything I kind of wanted to say, but you guys, we really, really need police officers. It's that bad. And what I mean by that is, I went out my house the other day, and a resident came up to me crying because they was held at gunpoint. I don't want to ever know what that feel like. I can just imagine what she was going through. The other issue is a lot of residents' cars are being broken into. Like literally every other day is someone's car. That's another issue. Now, if we don't have anyone to patrol the area, how can we say we have safety? We don't. We need safety. We need officers. Whether they're part-time, full-time, we need officers. That's why I put it on the agenda, because everyone was crying out to me. And normally when you guys cry out to me, when people were saying y'all don't have a voice, I normally respond. I may not get my votes, but I respond. I show you that I'm going to show up and show out for my residents, which I've always done over my 4 years being on this board, and I will continue to do that. I will still advocate for the police officers. I hope and pray that this board have a change of heart and give us what we're asking for, which he asked for way more than that, but we asked for 2 full-time and 2 part-times. The reason being, 2 of our officers are no longer with us, so it was a balance in the fundings. It wasn't extra money or new money, it was old money, already money that spent, same money that I was advocating to replace. So again, you guys, we do need police officers. Thank you, Mayor.
2 of our. Now, I agree with you definitely on one thing. You have shown out. I definitely agree with that. But I can't stress the importance of having a good police department. Now, crime is all over. Now, by hiring more police officers doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to catch all the bad guys. But what it does mean is that we put a presence on the street, and when criminals see patrols, cars driving by, and know that the police out there, they say, you know, let's not go to Dolton because we may get a chance of getting caught. Let's go over here. Believe me, they do their homework too. They know what's out there. They know what kind of cars that they drive. They know what kind of undercover cars that may be out there. So that's why it's important to rotate those type of vehicles and put an additional police on the job. So we have to have police officers. Go ahead. I was even call you a trustee. Go ahead, Shy. I'm making everybody trustees tonight.
Thank you, Mayor, Village Clerk, trustees, and department heads, and also residents. Just a few quick announcements. There was a lot going on. Just in time for Memorial Day weekend on Thursday, May 24th, a new Dollar Tree store opened in Dolton. Last year, Dollar Tree, which is a Fortune 200 company, opened 603 new stores and exceeded $22 billion in sales. This company operates thousands of stores across the United States and Canada, and now there's one right in Dolton on Sibley Boulevard and Greenwood Road. Seen many of you all there already. There were many people on hand for the ribbon cutting that we had and welcoming the management team. So now you have one right in your area where you can shop Dolton. The next day, on Friday, May 25th, we welcome the management team of another new business that is open to serve Dolton's residents, and that's Everett's Restaurant, located at 15360 Chicago Road. That is now open to the public, and they have delicious Italian beef sandwiches, hot dogs, gyros, and fried green tomatoes, which the mayor showed that he enjoyed them. You'll probably see some video of that a little bit later. And then on Tuesday, May 29th, D&K Gourmet Salads, Catering, and More open their doors. This is for some of you all who may be a little more health conscious. They are salads and things of that nature. Located at 15025 Woodlawn Avenue. They serve delicious salads, wraps, smoothies, and more. Of course, we are all delighted to welcome them and ask that you support these businesses that have chosen to make Dolton their home. Also, are we going to show the videos now or wait?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we have some video footage by our media director. Dollar Tree first, so you can see what took place.
It's Thursday, May 24th, and we're here to welcome our new business in the village of Dolton, the Dollar Tree. So as we go forward to continue our efforts to bring new businesses to the village of Dolton, we're happy to have them here, and we're going to welcome them here today at this ribbon cutting. So on the count of 3, we're going to cut the ribbon for the new Dollar Tree store right here in the village of Dolton. Okay, everybody with me? Really good. 1,
Yeah.
2, 3. Okay. The sister.
Management said they're already breaking record numbers there at that store just over the Memorial Day weekend.
So glad that you all put Dollar Tree right here on City because it's very convenient. It's close to where I live. I don't have to go all the way to Calumet City anymore just to buy the little necessities that I enjoy getting for $1.
You know, we appreciate Dollar Tree coming here. And one of the biggest things that we need to do in the village of Dolton is continue to have economic development. And it gets difficult at times. But we are so happy to have Dollar Tree here today because they've made a big investment here in our community. And we want our residents and other people that are traveling through this Sibley corridor, as you mentioned, to participate and really support this endeavor.
We're here with Cynthia Thomas, and she's just purchased. She has several bags here, participating in the grand opening of the Dollar Tree here on 939 Cynthia Boulevard. How was your experience?
Oh, I loved it. It was nice, clean, fresh, brand new stuff, and I don't have to go out of my neighborhood to shop, so I'm loving it.
Well, the good thing that it is a busy area, and busy means that there's businesses here that are willing to come here, that are willing to stay here. But as everywhere you go, people have to be vigilant in what they do when they get out of their cars. They have to look around when they come out of the stores, make sure they look around, and just be cognizant of everything that's going on around them. You know, people want to be safe, but there's also a partnership between public safety and also anybody else that's around here that see things going on. So basically, we're all looking out for each other.
Ed's proud of his work.
All right. Next looks like it's going to be Everett's Gyros.
Ed does a great job with the media and his taping of these events.
And today we are happy and excited to welcome our second new business here in the village of Dolton in 2 days. We're here at 154th and Chicago Road in Everett. The primary menu would be beef, Italian beefs, and hot dogs and hamburgers. So we want the community to come out and support this new business here in the village of Dolton. We welcome you all, and on the count of 3, we're going to welcome our new business, Everett's, right here at 154th and Chicago Road.
That's a serious one shot.
So if I get everyone to join me, the count of 3, so we get this ribbon cut and have Everett start their business. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Police department here are doing an excellent job of keeping this community safe. And businesses want to come to town because they know that they will be safe here, and customers will come and shop at these businesses that we have because we want to make them feel safe, but not just feel safe, to know that they are safe.
So we opened up Everett's here in Dolton, Illinois. We're pretty much focused on beefs, gyros, hot dogs, burgers. We're just trying to bring some good, wholesome food to Dolton and the residential area out in this area. So.
Good afternoon again. We're here at Everett's, another new business that they've chosen to make a huge investment in the village of Dolton. This is the second new business that we have brought here in the village of Dolton for 2 days. Yesterday we did a grand opening for the Dollar Tree. Now today we're at Everett's at 154th and Chicago Road. The primary menu is Italian beefs, hot dogs, hamburgers, and matter of fact, these great fried green tomatoes. I'm having one right now. I'm asking our residents to come down and start to do business. All the other businesses here in the but they made a huge investment in us. We need to invest in them. Thank you. Chinese green tomatoes if you wish.
They are.
And now D&K Gourmet Salads, Catering, and more.
The arrival of D and good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. We're here again today announcing another new business coming to the Village of Dolton. It's Tuesday, May 29th, and we're happy to announce the arrival of D&K Gourmet Salads and Catering right here at 15025 South Woodlawn in Dolton. We have our new owners here with us, Kimberly
And Deborah McMillan.
and husband and wife team here. We want you to support this business. So on the count of 3, we're going to cut this ribbon for this brand new business and wish them the best of luck here in the Village of Dolton. So count with me. 1, 2, 3.
Chief.
Hi, welcome to D&K Gourmet Salads, Catering, and more. We're so glad that we're finally got our doors open, and we invite you to come out and have some of the freshest food, salads, healthy. You can take any of our items and turn it into a wrap. You can have it in a salad. We got great soups, smoothies, protein drinks, and some good sweets, peach cobbler and banana pudding. So come on out. We're here at 15025 Woodlawn, and our hours are Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Very nice, refreshing, healthy, good food.
The McMillers who opened up D&K, they're, I think they said 22 or 25-year residents of the Village of Dolton. They live here.
All right.
Thank you. Let's give Ed a big round of applause. Yeah. Ed does a great job in doing these events and with the editing and sound bites and things like that. So thanks, Ed.
All right, next. Last week, Mayor Rogers continued his annual tradition of celebrating the end of the school year with Dolton's elementary school students by having a huge ice cream party for them. The children were all smiles as they enjoyed cold ice cream on sweltering hot days. Over 700 containers of ice cream were distributed to the young people at Lincoln Elementary School, which is led by their principal, Dr. Don Parker, and Roosevelt Elementary School, led by their principal, Mr. Stephen Chambers. At Roosevelt, the students were outside in the hot sun for field day. It was no shade at all whatsoever. And but the ice cream cooled them off, and they had an excellent time. In addition to giving them ice cream, Mayor Rogers, Police Chief Robert M. Collins Jr., Deputy Police Chief Ernest Mobley, Deputy Fire Chief Don Rush, Trustee Jason House all delivered words of guidance advising them to be safe over the summer, to keep their minds sharp by reading, and to report anything at school or in their neighborhood that does not seem right. There was also personnel from the police department, and of course, as always, Chief of Staff from the Mayor's office, Elizabeth Scott, made sure that everything was where it was supposed to be when it was supposed to be there, and not melt it. So we want to give them all a round of applause. The children really enjoy it. Thank you so much. All right. And while I'm mentioning Chief of Staff Elizabeth Scott, coming up, we have on Wednesday, June 6th. As you know, she works very hard trying to work with you residents, and you all are calling regarding flooding. That's very important to Mayor Rogers. We're always thinking of new solutions, trying to work it out as far as the flooding when the rainy season comes. But you have to participate as well. So as we work on solutions, you will see Elizabeth Scott on Wednesday, June 6th, 5 p.m. here at Village Hall, because that's the next Dolton Rain Ready Steering Committee meeting. All right, so she's asking that you all come. She was very instrumental. I mean, really, people were able to get grants to fix their homes, to fix their basements, and it couldn't have been done without her hard work, and she wants to do the same thing for you all as well. So you can give her a call at 708-201-3348. Again, Wednesday, June 6th, 5 p.m., Village Hall. If you're having any problems, or if your street floods when it rains and it takes a little while to go down, come to the meeting, give your feedback and input, and let's get these solutions. Something else happening in June, there's a fundraiser for Detective Darrell Hope. A portion of every gallon of gas purchased between June 1st and June 30th at the Clark gas station, which is located at 733 East 142nd Street, will be donated to the family of Detective Hope. That gas station, again, is on 142nd and Langley. So if you go there and you purchase gas, a portion of your purchase will be given to the family. As you know, Detective Hope was shot several times during an attempted robbery. He is a highly decorated veteran officer, part of the South Suburban Major Crimes Task Force, a community servant, and one of the primary coordinators of National Night Out. All right, so that is another important thing happening in June. And just Friday, many of you participated. Of course, we know that Mayor Rogers, our very own Mayor Rogers, is a member of Mayors Against Illegal Guns. All weekend, you probably saw people walking around wearing orange. We did it on Friday, and some of us went to other rallies on Saturday as well. We join the rest of the nation in advocating sensible gun laws and ending illegal gun trafficking and proliferation. So elected officials, many of some of the trustees and village employees came and participated in a small rally, and we took a photo outside showing that we're supporting all efforts to prevent gun violence. So if you go to our Facebook page, you can see, and if you go to their website, you can also see those pictures from all across the nation. We sent our pictures in, and they got it, and they put it on their website as well. So those are all things going on. I can't think if I missed anything.
You
Scott,
Mayor?
Oh.
Yeah. This is a picture of...
Oh, yeah, that's a picture from last year that we have on there, but we took a similar picture with everyone who was there. And if you would like to, we also had individuals, if you have lost somebody to gun violence, you were able to write the name down. It was not just a symbolic day, it was also a day to take action. So that's it. Oh, one important thing, you know that it's always a tradition. Second Saturday is Coffee with the Mayor. Always is one of the highlights of the month, but this month we will not be having a Coffee with the Mayor on June 9th. It was supposed to be upcoming June 9th. We'll take a brief, I guess a summer vacation kind of, brief 1 month hiatus, and then we'll be back at you in July giving you all the information that you want and need. Are there any questions on anything that I said? Yes, ma'am. Okay.
What was that?
What happened to Wendy's?
From what I understand, let the chief answer that.
That it started out as a domestic dispute from another town, and the couple, one was chasing the other, one lost control and ran into the Wendy's. Wendy's caught fire, and now they're closed for renovation.
Yes.
Yes, they will reopen once they finish repair.
Yeah. Now I'd like to bring my chief of staff. Are you done, Ajay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'd like to bring my chief of staff, Elizabeth Scott, to the microphone as we continue our efforts to, provide employment for our youth. We have once again partnered with an organization, and you can explain it, Elizabeth.
Okay. Good evening, residents. Once again, we're having the third annual 50-20 program. We're doing it a little different this year because we don't have the funding, but jobs have always been important to the mayor for youth, so we're still going to continue our stride in finding jobs and providing opportunity and careers. Coming up, I'm going to have Sue Gilbert and Vivian Mason from OAI, which is Opportunity for Advanced Innovation, come up. But I wanted to give you a little background about this. So Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle, came up with a workforce initiative called Opportunity Works. We were able to partner with them in conjunction with OAI and BCS in order to provide important career training and apprenticeship for the youth in the community. It's going to be for ages between 18 and 24 years old at no cost to the village, and we are going to continue trying to provide jobs. So she's going to give you, they're going to give you a little more information about this.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Sue Gilbert. This is Vivian Mason. We work at OAI. We are a nonprofit organization in workforce development. We are working with the Opportunity Works program with President Preckwinkle and BCS to bring jobs into Dolton. We are doing a 10-week paid internship program in manufacturing. It's about a 3 to 4 week training. In that training, you do get forklift certification, OSHA certification. You do also get to go on local manufacturing, go on tours in local manufacturing companies. After the training and career readiness, you're then put on a 6-week paid internship program for about $10 an hour, with the hopes that you are placed at a full-time job. So we are definitely looking for a lot of people. We are hosting the cohort in Dolton downstairs in this village. Any questions or any add-ons?
And the next informational session will be June 11th at 10 o'clock here on the second floor. If you would like to contact Ms. Elizabeth Scott, you can call her numbers on the flyer. They'll be placed in the back of the room. And also you can contact Sue, or you can email the partner from BCS. Again, this is a training that will allow individuals to not only go from an internship, the outcome is for them to get... Okay. This is not only just an internship, it is a paid internship that gives them training in manufacturing, and once they get the training, the end goal is for them to seek permanent employment. So we match them to the employer, and we hope that the job is close to their home so that they can get to and from work. So it is a win-win situation, and we're looking for all kids to come out, and we're going to fill many slots, so we're asking that you let your families know that we're available to them. And we appreciate the mayor. He's been very instrumental in making this happen, as well as Elizabeth Scott, and we're just glad to be here in the community to make a difference.
Thank you.
I'd like to add also that it's been an amazing partnership with OAI. I first became acquainted with them when we started doing the hiring events, and they actually have assisted us with locating, providing jobs and locating careers for many residents to work in factories, including RDA. So we know that this works. This is not just a job. This is a career. So please tell everyone. And we don't have any certain number of slots to fill in the beginning initially. So as many people that are qualified between the ages of 18 and 24 and come out, we are going to provide training for them. And at the end, they do a little kind of a, they called it like speed dating, where there will be actual employers coming out to do interviews like we do at the hiring events, and they're going to hand pick the students that they would like to invite to their manufacturing company or logistics company. So it is a great opportunity. Please spread the word and tell everyone, and we do have flyers at the front. Thank you so much.
Now, one of the things, I want to just say something here. When we started the 50-20 program, the inception 3 years ago, the village paid for the employment of those young students and youth. We still have some of those students. Well, now they've graduated, most of them, but they started 3 years ago in some of the businesses that were here, and they're still employed. And one of the things that we ask when new businesses come in town, we ask them to hire our residents. And Ashad is getting actually he's getting, what is he getting? He's getting it's not a brochure, but it's the statistics from the U.S. Bureau of Employment on where we were when this administration started and where we are today, by demanding that the new businesses that come in town hire our residents. So we also had to get a little bit creative in trying to continue the 50-20 program, and thank God that we have developed this relationship with OAI, and thank God that President Tony Preckwinkle has decided to fund this program to make sure that it happens, and to bring it into Dolton to make it happen. So we're looking even to drop our unemployment rate much lower than where we're at, and we've dropped it about 10 points since 2013. So we appreciate OAI in participating with this, and we're going to employ probably 75 to 80 people this year. Okay, next thing on the agenda is citizens address. Sandra?
Good evening, Mayor, trustees. Really quick, because I have to leave. I'm really happy to hear that we want to hear the residents' voice, because I think I've been standing up here for months wondering why we still have BP Capital. Because my voice says, why are we spending money? And not only that, invest Dolton. And now to understand, we're paying an attorney. We're having a finance committee, or you're having a meeting after this to discuss money that we don't have and cuts that we're going to make, but yet we find a way to pay attorneys. I don't understand that. I really don't. So if we're talking about balancing our budget, or at least getting a hold of our money, we need to stop spending it. And we need to not spend it on things that we don't need. We have an attorney. He's here every board meeting. I don't know, I didn't know you were here until tonight. But that's money that we don't need to spend. We're giving Attorney Bass $5,000 per house, and we're in a deficit. And when I stand up here and I see the faces look back at me, and it's like deer in the headlights, nobody's saying anything. These are our tax dollars too, as you stated, your residents too. Why do you spend your money that way? And I think if you're going to do committees, you need to have someone on there with the expertise or a little bit of knowledge about what we're talking about. Because this is not working. It's not. There's so much opposition up here that is insulting, it's embarrassing, it's all those things. We really need to hone it in. And as far as a committee, you need someone on your committee that don't necessarily agree with you all the time. So you need a contrast. So it's apparent that at least 3 out of the 6 are going to agree. And you may get a 4th one in there, but it's not fair. That's not a fair vote, because everybody's agreeing with the same thing. I'll sit on the committee. Can I get invited? Because this is enough. I work hard every day, and this is what you do with our tax dollars. It's not right. I'm tired of it. When's elections?
February.
Good evening, all resident mayor and heads. I hate to say the same thing, but she got up before me. I really want to talk about this. You don't have money. We do need the policemen out, because I would love to have my street free of crime, jump in the car when I get ready and go where I want to go. But yet, we find money to pay lawyers. I don't understand that. I don't want to say the same thing she said, but she got up here before me. That's been heavy on my mind. The whole, how do you have a lawyer? You have already a lawyer. We don't have money for a policeman, but we're going to pay a lawyer. Lawyer fees are not cheap. They're not cheap. I know, because I've used them for several things, you know. But if they can answer that question for me, why do you need another lawyer to just agree with what you have to say, or for the committees as a whole? I don't understand that. So I know nobody's going to answer that question, but they did this before. Where did they get them? Nowhere. But just spending the village money. And it's not right, and it's not fair. So think about that. And we're thinking about election time too.
Good evening. This is directed to the police department. I'm going to give my experience that happened on June 1st, Friday morning, around 2 a.m. We do need more police. We need effective police. We need accountable police. We need follow-ups. Here's my story. Around 2:11 a.m., I heard a round of gunshots, 6 or 8 immediately. I thought it was on the corner of Dorchester and Caston because I lived off that area right there. And Caston is a street that looks, people think it's an alley, but it's a street that goes east and west. And behind there, there's 145th alley that has an alley. Then our street, 146, if you can imagine this. And then I'm on 146th Street, right off of Dorchester. After the gunshot rounds of 6 or 8, all of a sudden I hear a piercing, and it was on the bedroom side of my daughter. I thought it hit her window. It broke, it penetrated. She runs into my room, and she looks out on my window. She sees 2 hooded men in my neighbor's backyard, one near the door, one by the fence. Caston is behind me. The grass has not been cut. It's 4 feet high. Every time it's cut through the summer, I has repeatedly other neighbors call. So now it is June, whatever, and the grass is this high in my garage. So the alley, Caston's high grass, and my garage, and then my neighbor, I won't mention his name, he lives behind the alley of 145th Street, Dorchester. He heard and saw 2 young men or 3 dressed differently with tan pants and yellow t-shirt on, shouting, "Are you hurt? Did you get hit?" Coming from down the alley toward my house. So the shootout was behind my garage in the house. So 2 bullets penetrated through my daughter's wall like this. Lucky how she was lying in the bed. She is alive. I'm alive. The police came, Officer Miranda came. They looked around the yard, 6 or more cars, whatever came. He went upstairs, he went in the yard, he saw this and that. But there was no follow-up. There was no accountability. He told me some detective, no one has called me. Then I go out and do my own investigation. I prove 2 bullets came through my garage door, so my house is damaged. So no one said give me a police report so I can file with my insurance to do compensation or whatever. I don't appreciate this. I've been out since before Shaw was a mayor, and before that we got service, like costs and less service. I have never lived in violent neighborhoods. So when I moved out here with my daughter, I figured, well, yes, it has changed, but still I feel the police department lack or without police could follow up with a procedure. This happened Friday morning at 2 a.m. I come to the police department that evening. They were very candid with me and condescending. I am not stupid. When you don't follow up and follow your procedure, I asked the sergeant, well, I didn't hear about it. I don't know what you're talking about. And we can't be at one place and another. So I'm like, excuse me? When you come in, you don't know who you're talking to. In other places I know, other sergeants that come in hear the previous reports about what happened prior. I was annoying him. He wants to tell me that we're sure. I understand that. But it's serious when my house gets shot up and I don't even get a report or follow-up, a phone call. Officer Hernandez tells me a detective's going to call me. The sergeant at the police station says, well, it depends on his decision, if he feels it's relevant or not. So I'm just repeating what was told to me. That's why I am standing here outraged and angry.
Ma'am, we're past the 3 minutes. Can you see the deputy chief of police in the back there?
Yes.
Thank you.
I can bring you 2 more bullets. This is not fantasy.
Good evening, Mayor and Trustee Board. Once again, we table hiring police officers. For 5 years, we have been tabling hiring police officers. In one respect, like Tiffany said, 2 we have lost, and you're not really replacing, you're replacing 2, so the money is already there. This board is divided. Whatever 4 of you want is what 4 of you get. You're not for us in the residents. We see this. I don't know if you know we see this. And all these people that you say you knock on the doors and you go see and you talk to, I've never seen you. And I'm always all over Dolton. I've seen Tiffany. You know, I've seen Tiffany. I see Mr. House. You guys just divide. What? I'm sorry if I'm boring you, Mr. Muhammad. You guys divide the city. You sit here and talk about politics. We need to do this. Sitting, preaching this whole speech that Martin Luther King did. You and your compadres have separated Dolton. Yeah. You go to no function that's for the village. When the mayor gives a function, it's not for him personally. It's for us as residents. Okay? That's who he's for. You guys are for you, and you. Yes. And that's it. None of you have ever went against one or the other. Your little committee, she's right. Residents need to be on that committee, not 3 people that's going to agree with it and decide, well, oh, I need this vote here, so I take care of your water bill. Okay? It needs to stop. You need to start getting your own voices and make your own decisions. And don't bring up ordinances that don't need to be brought up. Whenever something happened to you, you want an ordinance. Somebody play basketball, you want an ordinance. You don't like this, you want an ordinance. Come on now. You get on the mayor about spending money, but guess what? $30,000 you spend, the $75,000 that you spent, Muhammad, every time somebody asks about, you can't tell us what you did with the money. All this money, but when it comes to the mayor, but you can jump all over the mayor. And I'm not saying that what the mayor did is right, because if the water went up on him in Chicago, you should have came to the residents. That's what we put you there for, so we can help you out. We're not here so you can't pass something on, and then later on we get this big bill, okay? That's why we here, Mayor. That's why we voted you in. We didn't vote you in for mayor. Had you not ran on the mayor's ticket, none of you would be here. But you get on his ticket, you get in there, the first day that you was there, you stabbed him in the back. At the first, yeah, you were. I was at the inauguration. Don't go there with me. And I know anybody who was here at that inauguration saw it themselves. We are not crazy residents.
And we've reached the 3-minute mark.
Thank you, Mayor.
Now, this is Mrs. Slaughter. She is the resident here that her house has been taken, and she spoke with the representative from BP Capital prior to the expiration date of her being able to file to get the house back. They said they would get back to her. They never got back with her, and they took her house. Her house was in fact vacant, but she had boarded, someone had broken into it. She had boarded it up herself, secured it herself, and they went after the house. And the house needs very little rehab on it. And that's what we're finding out, is all these houses that they're taking are the ones that need very little rehabilitation. And they're selling these houses, and they are getting the revenue. So, Ms. Slaughter, I just want you to just explain a little bit about, and Chief, just may go a little bit longer than 3 minutes, explain a little bit about what has happened to you that really puts a bad eye, a black eye on our village.
Sure. Okay. I did purchase a property, and I knew I was going to be getting around to working on it a little bit later because I had 2 children in college. So I couldn't work on it right then. I purchased it in 2016. Kids were breaking in.
Just hold it.
Kids were breaking in, so I boarded it up. One day I saw this man out in the driveway. I said to him, "Excuse me, can I help you with something?" He says, "Oh, I'm going to be working on this house. This is going to be mine." I said, "No, this house isn't for sale." He said, "Well, that's not what I heard." I said, "Well, it's not." He said, "Well, what do you know?" So I didn't tell him very much. I left. Well, then I went back because he was still hanging around. I said, "You know, I own this property, so it is not for sale." He left. Didn't hear anything else about it. A few months later, I happened to drive up. He's inside. I said, what are you doing in my house? He says, this is not your house, this is mine. He said, if you don't believe me, go down to the village. I flew down here. I started asking around. They said, well, are the taxes behind? Well, yeah, I knew the taxes were behind, but I knew I had a certain amount of time to redeem them. So I wasn't worried about it. I called him up and I said, you know, because he'd given me his number. The lawyer had given me a number. Come to find out, he's a lawyer on both sides, which is a huge conflict of interest as far as I'm concerned. But I told him, I'm not interested. He said, well, you know what? He says, I'm busy right now. I'll call you back. He knew, but I didn't know that my time was expiring because they were trying to get the deed. So next thing I know, the time has expired. He never got back to me. But he knew up front, the guy from BP Capital, he drives a black Cadillac truck. I talked to him on 2 occasions. So he knew that it wasn't for sale, or wasn't vacant. He knew that it was mine, but they went behind my back and took it anyway. I worked hard for that. That was a place that I was going to have to go to. And so I'm very upset. I need my place back. No one's offered me a penny. There was not anything wrong with it. And I am mad as hell. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And I want to know what the board is going to do about this guy that you guys hired to do this. We have a bunch of vacant property that's really horrible. They didn't go after that stuff. That's the stuff that needs to be taken care of, because I've been out here for 25 years, and there's stuff that was vacant the day I moved out here. It's still vacant. Why didn't they go for that? If they want to make Dolton beautiful, let's go for the stuff that's really, really bad.
Right.
Okay? No, they cherry picked the stuff that they wanted, and you guys let them do it. You let it do it to people. We've been here. This is our stuff we worked hard for, and you guys want to let them take this? Is that what you want to do?
Yes. Well, I'm going to tell you, Ms. Slaughter, I'm going to do everything in my power, and the clerk, along with me, is going to help to get your property back.
Well, I appreciate that.
There's properties that, like I said earlier, the clerk and myself went to court, and we were successful in having those cases dismissed, and those homeowners got their property back. There's properties that they're taking that no one has responded to. Why? And you're taking those. Why do you want to take the ones that the residents are responding to?
Yes,
you know,
he knew.
I mean,
Head honcho knew. I told him. Go ahead,
how greedy do you want to be? You know, the program is just terrible. We're not getting a dime for any of those properties. It's terrible. And I agree with you, Ms. Wells, in regards to we need to take a look and get rid of BP Capital. I agree with you.
Yes, they need to go, especially when they know that something's not vacated. So yes, they need to go.
And they're selling some of these houses for $40,000 and more, and the village don't get a dime.
Yes. And I paid my hard-earned cash for that. My money, cash. I worked hard for that I can't get back. What's up with that? And you know what? I haven't been to any board meetings, and that's my fault. But for the first time that I come in here, because I decided I got to start getting involved and do stuff, I don't know what's going on up here, but this is really, you know, we need to work together as a village. This is tearing us apart. I've never in my life seen anything like this. I've been sitting back here just in awe. We need to get together. I mean, we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Do you guys know what the Pledge of Allegiance means? That we all stand together? Where is that at up here? You guys not showing us how to stand together? That's right. Jesus.
All right,
thank you. I'm done.
Thank you, Ms. Slaughter.
Please.
All right, Ms. Creighton. We're going to be going into executive session after this citizens address.
Good evening, trustees, mayor, citizens, department heads. Yes, we must all get it together. I have a question this evening for a brochure that I received from Rinky's Bar and Cafe.
Yes.
I got it in the mail yesterday, and I was just reading. It says Sunday is open from 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Thursday, it's open from 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. my question to you, Mayor or whoever, can they serve liquor at that time at 10 a.m.?
Monday?
Monday through Thursday, yes. They could sell liquor at 10 a.m. in the morning?
Yes.
Okay.
Only on Sundays is there no requirement.
Okay. Well, I have a problem with that, and I didn't realize that they were, I thought it was just a video gaming place, but when they were remodeling it, they had the doors open, and I went in, and I saw the bar and the grill. I didn't understand that you could serve liquor at 10 in the morning on the main thoroughbred of the village of Dolton. I have a problem with that. And let me say something about Smokies. This is just for FYI. I went into Smokies. I didn't know what it was about. My kids said, Mom, you go and check the place out. I'd never been in there. But the cigar things they had locked up. But I'm looking at gummy worms and brownies and Rice Krispie bars that the man said, well, do you need this? And no, why do I need that? I asked, why was it so expensive? And he said it was for, it helped with medical issues. I didn't have any medical issues, but I had a problem there because he said, well, no, we can't serve anybody, sell to anyone that's under the age of 21. And I said, where is that posted at in black and white? He said, it's on the door. But when I went in, the door was open. So you wouldn't see at the bottom of the door that you had to be 21 years of age to enter. And then at the main door, at the entrance of the door, is an ice cream cooler. Now, young people that were walking through, and I'm just saying that's how it looked to me, my concern with young people, that ice cream cooler was right by the door. So, of course, I'm not looking at only, sir, you have to be 21 years of age to enter. I'm looking at the ice cream cooler being by the door and the accessibility to young people that now, since school is out, Lincoln got out on Friday, Thornridge is out, the other schools are out. So I have a concern with that. So if someone can go to them, I'd like to see a sign more so than printed on the bottom of the door, or should I just ask them myself, or is that up to the trustees and you guys to ask them? I'd like that to be posted in the window so that it's visible in more than one place, because the door was open and they had something blocking it to, let the air in.
Okay.
Is that something that can be done?
Well, the law requires them to have it in a conspicuous place. On the door is conspicuous.
At the bottom.
It doesn't matter where on the door, where it's placed on the door. If the door happens to be open, it happens to be open, but it's still in a conspicuous place. Now, we can ask them to post another sign in the window, sure, but they are in compliance right now. And as far as the ice cream cooler being at the door, that's there for impulse buying. If you go into food, not Food for Less, but just go in the dollar store, that ice cream cooler is right at the end of the counter, along with pop coolers and things like that. Because while people are waiting there, that's why all the gum and the candy and everything is right there by the cash register. Because while you're waiting, you look over there. It's called.
And I understand, because
it's
that's
called impulse buying.
Exactly.
So, how a person that owns a store, manages a store, how they set it up is the way they,
I understand that, but my concern was that the brownies that were marked, the Rice Krispie treats that were marked, I said, well, why is this stuff so expensive? And he explained to me that it was something in them that was supposed to. I don't forget. But seriously, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm very serious about that, because the young man said, well, you know what is behind here, but wait a minute. That baby don't understand that. I'll come in. I have a concern with that. I saw all the things that were on the shelves and the cigars that were locked up, because it advertised Smokey's grand opening with the cigars and all that stuff and the pipes, but
you know why the cigars are locked up?
I understand that. I understand why they're locked up.
Why?
Because they're costly.
Because they had a problem with shoplifting.
Okay.
And I went in the store. They had that what do they call it, Matador?
Who?
Humidor. They had it built, and right now they have close to $100,000 worth of cigars in there.
Yeah.
And they had left it. There was no lock on it at first.
Right.
And they would let people go in there and take a look around, and then it's easy to take a cigar. It's easy to take a $50 cigar, $75 cigar, stick it in a pocket like that.
But I'm concerned about the drugs. I'm not concerned about the cigar. And I know that that's their business.
Drugs in there?
They said that it was laced with stuff that could help you if you wanted to use marijuana or whatever.
Miss Creighton, now you shouldn't make an accusation.
No, I'm not making an accusation. This is what the young man told me. If I was ill, if I had some illness, this I could take the gummy bears, the gummy worms, or the Rice Krispie treat, or the brownie, and it would help me. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you what they said.
All you have to do is stay up at night at 3 o'clock in the morning and look at those infomercials about stimulants, and it's got this in it. And if you got sex problems and you got all these other issues, you take this, and it's legal. Let me get you. All I'm saying is that I don't think there's anything in there, as far as I know, that they would be selling illegal.
Okay, I don't know if it's legal or illegal. That was my concern. That's all, Mayor.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying to the trustees, all of you guys. And my other question is that...
And I want to respond to the liquor sales.
Yes,
12 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Behind Liquor City. You know what it is? 149th and Chicago Road.
Right.
Is a bar. Mm-hmm. They started selling alcohol at 7 o'clock in the morning.
I didn't know that. I only know this because I got it.
The only restriction, and that was a popular place after the midnight shift got off from 12 at night to 8 in the morning. You know, that's their after work set where they would go in. But the only requirement is a new requirement on Sunday as far as alcohol sales.
Okay.
But during the week, they can start.
You can sell it at any time.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's why I said I came to ask the question.
Yeah, and our pouring license goes at 2 o'clock in the morning during the week.
Okay.
3 o'clock on Saturday night, right, Chief?
So you can start at any time, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that was.
Except on Sunday.
And my other question is that, will we get the balance on, what is the issue? Will we get the balance on the payment for the Dorchester? Have we gotten that?
We get the balance. Yeah. Okay.
Right, because, okay, you're working on it now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Right. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Creighton. Good evening, everybody. I have one question, basically concerning BP Capital. However, what I think Ms. Creighton was trying to say, in reference to the smoke shop, the liquors, and all of that, those values don't exactly resemble sometimes what we're looking for in our neighborhood.
Okay.
And that's a done deal with that, and we're really tired of seeing more liquor stores and things of that nature that are enticing young children to come in at a young time. It is what it is. Okay, but my question in reference to BP Capital is, what is the process that's in place to ensure that no interest, like an interest party, no interest party is involved in the property, like other investors or things of that nature? How do you cipher other investors out? People who come and say, well, you know what, I want to be a resident in Dolton, but you don't know that they're actually an investor. How do you find that out? I mean, what is the process?
Who are you directing it to?
I'm saying, what process is in place to ensure no interest party or no, oh, excuse me, I done got lost. Thank you. Third party interest is involved.
I'll be quite honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
The agreement was passed. I didn't even read it because just hearing it when it was introduced, I knew it wasn't right. So So I can't tell you that. I'm not sure who you want to direct that question to. Maybe the members
Well,
that...
basically those who are actually interested or who are actually doing this particular Invest Dalton program. So that's who I'm addressing it to.
Excuse me, real soon, I don't have the date with me, we're going to have another housing fair. We're not able to put anything on the SS channel. We can't use the media center. I do have newspapers in my car. I can give you one. It'll give you a lot of information because the trustees are not allowed to use the media center to put this particular information for the residents. Excuse me, the trustees are not allowed to put this information on the media center, send emails out or anything of that nature, but I did have it placed in the newspaper, and I have some out in my car that I can give you that information after the meeting. Even after we dismiss from here, I can run out and get you
I would definitely like to see that.
Okay.
But the other thing is...
Okay.
Go ahead.
And I was going to say, in the paper, it also states home ownership. You have to live in the house for 5 years before you could sell it or do anything to it. And all that will be checked out. And we will have the housing fair. And I know Ed sent Trustee Muhammad an email and stated that he sent all that information to the mayor, and we're still waiting on the mayor. And that don't look like it's going to happen. So therefore, we put the information in newspapers, and anybody that care for a newspaper, I have some in my car.
Okay. The other thing actually is, again, Village of Dalton, everybody can see how decisive our board is. And some sort of way, I don't care what hate you have for him or her or she has for you, excuse me, but what I'm saying is, y'all gonna have to come together some sort of way. We cannot keep coming here every week to go through this hassle, this headache. It's drenching to come here once a month, every month, or twice a month to this meeting to have to witness this. So I'm asking if you guys can get together some sort of way, and you really have to start talking this out because, see, you're confusing all of us right about now.
Can I say something to you before you leave? Actually, I can't think of the lady's name. Perhaps Trustee...
Jalal.
Pardon me?
Jalal Munir.
Yeah, Jalal Munir.
Munir.
She actually...
Jalal Munir.
She actually set up a meeting with 5 of the trustees to meet with the mayor. I believe Trustee House was the only one that met with him. He had agreed first to meet with us. And don't know what happened after Trustee Trustee House met with her and the mayor. Then, to my understanding, she text some of the trustees, and I spoke with her, and she said, because she wanted to do a mediator thing, you know, so we can all get together and squash whatever is our problem with each other and move forward for the people of this village. And I don't know what happened at that particular meeting, but to my understanding, she stated to me that the mayor didn't want to meet with anybody else. Now, this is what she told me. That's, you know, I don't know.
And is there something in place where as you guys are, at least whatever committee that you're trying to create, are going to now include at least some of us here in this village to sit on your committee to help make some of these decisions as well?
Yes, we talked about that, and we definitely want some residents. We are going to have a meeting in July, and we hope we get the support of the board, and we would like to include you because you should have a voice in our village.
Okay, before you go, I just got 2 comments for you. One, someone did reach out to me with everybody, but at the end of the day, we all grown up here. If people want to talk to people, pick up the phone and call them, set a meeting. We don't need a resident per se to do it if we really wanted to talk to one another. I call everybody on the board. So if it's something I want to talk about, I reach out to everybody. So everybody up here could do the same exact thing. That's 1. 2, she didn't answer your question as far as the investment. Was it a third-party investment interest? No. No one knows. There's no checks and balances.
Yeah, that's what the mayor was just saying. He said he hadn't
Okay, and 3,
No information.
committee,
Right.
if they wanted a resident to sit on their committee, the law that they made up now, they would have added a resident onto that law,
Wow.
onto that ordinance.
Wow.
Yeah, see,
Thank you.
normally the mayor would set up the committees, but they put an ordinance in place where I couldn't do that either. So when you talked about all these ordinances, this, that, this, if you compare our ordinances with some of the other villages, what we got, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All the money and time that's spent in all those late night meetings to 1 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock at night, over nothing. Crazy stuff. Okay, that concludes our citizens' address. We're going to ask for a motion to go into executive session.
Pending litigation, no action.
Pending litigation of some issues that we have going on. There will not be any action when we come back out other than a dismissal. Okay, get a motion to go in executive session.
Motion for executive session.
Okay, it's been motion second to go in executive session. Roll call.
Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs? Aye. Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henyard?
Aye.
Ed.